Well, before the end of the year, it looks like members of Congress are doing all they can to get stuff out before a new Congress takes over, one that's going to be split. And Democrats going to maintain control of the U.S. Senate. Republicans going to take over the U.S. House. We heard earlier about Republicans in the U.S. House launching an investigation not of just Hunter Biden's business dealings, but what President Joe Biden knew about it, and ranging from everything of money laundering allegations to even human trafficking allegations. Pretty scandalous stuff, and it's been in the ether now for several years. But now with Republicans going to take over the House, they're going to have subpoena power to do these investigations. We'll see how that turns out. But even in the minority in the U.S. Senate, Republicans can still get some pointed questions in on committees. And they've been doing this for years, obviously, but both sides do it. They'll bring up directors of various agencies and ask some important questions. Josh Hawley, a U.S. Senator from Missouri, doing just that in the minority in a oversight committee hearing. And he had a chance to ask questions of the DHS Secretary, Alexander Mayorkas, and also the FBI Director, Christopher Wray. And Christopher Wray, he appeared several months ago before the committee, if you recall. And they were talking about a variety of things. They were wanting to, Republicans in particular were wanting to get some questions answered about January 6th, about the FBI working with big tech companies to censor things. And even the FBI director, here's a headline, cannot be sure whether Facebook is sending user information to agents. So that's a pretty wild headline. FBI Director Christopher Wray said Thursday he can't be sure whether FBI agents were sent information from Facebook about Facebook users. And he went on to make those remarks whenever Senator Rand Paul was asking some questions during a Judiciary Committee. And you've got these questions about the FBI's role in censoring things pretty prominent and troubling. Especially with the revelation that even Mark Zuckerberg made on the Joe Rogan podcast not long ago, dealing with the Hunter Biden laptop story that was suppressed on social media. But Josh Hawley getting a chance to ask questions. He provided a little bit of flair in asking Christopher Wray why he did not stay for an oversight hearing a couple of months ago when Christopher Wray decided that he had to leave because he was heading out on a flight. Here's that exchange.
With the leadership of the committee.
You left an oversight hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee required by statute so you could vacation with your family. I find that absolutely unbelievable and frankly indefensible.
Now, so we'll get to now Hawley lighten up Wray with some troubling trends that Hawley sees the FBI being involved in and not being held accountable as the FBI director had to go on vacation. Here's more of that.
Some of the things while you've been vacationing that your FBI has been doing. According to numerous whistleblowers who have come forward to members of this body, to members of the House, the FBI has been sending more than, in one instance, a dozen armed agents to a rural Pennsylvania home of a Catholic pro-life demonstrator to arrest him at gunpoint in front of his children in early morning hours, despite the fact that he posed no risk of violence or threat and had previously offered to turn himself in. Numerous whistleblowers, field agents, have alleged that D.C., your headquarters, has pulled them off working on child sex abuse cases, working on human trafficking cases, in order to work on January 6th matters for this reason, to give the appearance, they say, that there are hundreds of new domestic terrorism cases in the country, when in fact there are not. Whistleblowers, field agents have also said that D.C. has ordered the use of SWAT teams on nonviolent suspects who may have attended a January 6th rally, and they have been ordered to conduct surveillance and knock on doors of people who were not even in D.C. on January 6th. And again, all of this, according to the whistleblowers, these are your agents, all of this in order to make it look as if there's a mass surge in domestic terrorism all across the country, when in fact, the stats are being padded by political directive in your office. They also say, these whistleblowers, the D.C. leadership deliberately suppressed investigations into Hunter Biden, contrary to FBI procedure, and have also retaliated against FBI agents and whistleblowers who have contacted Congress, which, by the way, they are protected by statute to do so. This is what's happening at your FBI while you are evading oversight hearings. Mr. Director, do you think you're still up to this job?
I absolutely think I'm still up to this job, and I think our workforce feels the same way.
Well, I don't. And frankly, I think you should have been gone a long time ago. And given your behavior recently, I think it only makes it more clear. Are there any travel plans today that we should be aware of that you have? We're supposed to have a second round. Will you be here for that?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Obviously, there's some real concern with the politicization of the Department of Justice. And Hawley laid out a whole litany of different cases dealing with that concern of politicization of something that should be neutral and issuing justice in a balanced way. But I don't know if they're going to get the answers they want necessarily to those particular issues. But also yesterday, Josh Hawley, he had a chance to talk with the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, and some interesting stuff discussed there, especially in the situation of border security and the disinformation panel that they had to disband because of the criticisms that were there about possible violations of the First Amendment, free speech, and so on. But here's Josh Hawley talking with Alexander Mayorkas, the secretary of Biden's Department of Homeland Security. And we'll hear this now.
Colleagues have established, given what we're seeing on the southern border, the massive increase in illegality there, that's clearly not a priority for your agency. So let's talk about what appears to be, and that is spying on Americans and censoring their speech. You have turned your agency into a censorship machine. Now, you said earlier this year that you disbanded the Disinformation Governance Board, which I thought was totally unconstitutional, but that turns out to be, at best, misleading. That's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what you're doing. Your own quadrennial review, which was just reported in the press, says that disinformation is going to be the new focus at DHS. The Quad Review says that DHS plans to target, I'm quoting now, inaccurate information domestically on a wide array of subjects, including, quoting, the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic, the efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines, racial justice, U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, and the nature of U.S. support for Ukraine. This is what you're devoting your agency's resources to. So I guess my first question is an American citizen who criticizes COVID mandates now to be treated as a domestic terrorist?
Of course not, and I'd like to say three things since you have three inaccuracies in the question you posed to me. Number one, border security is a priority of ours. Number two, the department does not censor speech. And number three, we did not publish a quadrennial review.
Does it exist, the quadrennial review?
I believe it is being worked on.
Well, it's been published in the media. Will you make it public?
When it is final, it will be public.
Mr. Chairman, without objection, I'd like to enter this article called "The Truth Cops," published in The Intercept. Here's my question then. If you're not censoring speech and if you're not treating Americans as domestic terrorists, then why is it that you're pressuring big tech to treat American citizens as if they're threats to the homeland? Why are you pressuring them to censor speech? Let's take a look at some new documents that have come to light that show what your administration is doing, this administration is doing to censor speech. Let's take a look at this email from July 16th, 2021. It's over my shoulder here. Facebook emailing HHS saying, I know our teams met today to better understand the scope of what the White House expects from us on misinformation going forward. Are you familiar with that email?
No.
Let's try another one.
And if I should,
how about hold on, hold on.
And it goes on from there for a good solid 6 minutes, and something that I think if you've got time, listen to it, pick it apart, and hear what the DHS secretary has to say. to Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri. So these are the types of things I think you're going to hear a lot more of with a divided Congress heading over the next 2 years, picking apart what the Biden administration's doing, looking at the Biden administration from a variety of different angles. But ultimately, it's likely going to be used for politics, just as Democrats used their power of the gavel the past 2 years to go after Republicans and to characterize, the president, the former president Donald Trump in certain ways, to characterize his supporters as ultra MAGA Republicans and a threat to democracy, and to hold hearings on primetime TV about the January 6th riots, labeling it an insurrection, and really getting the corporate media to parrot that line. So you gotta recognize that one good turn deserves another, and if the shoe fits on one foot, and likely it's going to fit on another one. So don't think you're going to be too surprised by the hyperpolarization of these types of hearings as they continue forward in the U.S. Congress.